on early for today. This video was not even a video that I had considered doing until today. And I thought it was a really good opportunity to share with you about timelines and how trauma and timelines get triggered. So I'll just wait a few minutes for people to join on. And then I will share, see if we'll have anybody on. This is not my normal time. As many of you know, I don't have a normal time anymore because I have not figured out what the rhythm is going to be for 2025. So many of you know I did 366 plus videos last year for the Being in Sync 366 video series. However, this year I have decided to do something completely different, which is to do a series based on a topic. And the topic this year or this month is trauma. And I started it last month, and it's going to be a 10-part series. However, this is like a bonus video. This bonus video is basically to talk about timelines because a lot of people don't really understand how trauma works energetically, right? And even when you go to therapy, people often think of memories as in your brain and how your nervous system is wired. If you're working with a good practitioner, that's something they will address from the get-go. However, most people do not even discuss the importance of cellular memory. So I don't know if people are going to join on now. It is very early. Well, it's not even 9 o'clock here. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and start since I don't see anybody joining on, and it's been about, I don't know, 2 minutes. Okay, I'll wait a little bit longer. And haven't even finished my coffee yet. And there's a story with today's discussion that I'm going to share about trauma timelines. And timelines are something that I don't know any practitioner outside of an energetic practitioner that even discusses timelines or what a timeline is. But if you think about relationships having a line, an energetic line, well, there are also many different kinds of timelines. And trauma has a timeline. Not all traumas are connected to the same timeline because we can have multiple traumas with different timelines. These timelines are going to be connected via cellular memory. Now, I was just coming on here to talk because I was inspired by my own experience this morning. So I went to go look for this document, this legal document that I had, and I was looking for it, and you know how legal documents can be. There's one draft after another draft, another draft, and I finally found the correct and proper draft of this document, and I felt something within my body get triggered. And that's how we know that we have something that needs to be addressed. So triggers are an invitation to go in deeper, not to be ignored. And I thought to myself, how often so many people get triggered and they think, oh, I'm triggered, and then they just push through. And so I wanted to invite you all to hello, good to see you. Oh, thanks, people are joining in. I was just telling a story about trauma timelines. So this month's series is a trauma series. I'm doing 10 videos specifically to trauma. Today's video is kind of just like a bonus because this wasn't even in my list of things to talk about for trauma, but it's very appropriate. So anybody who spams the chat, obviously, you just get deleted because this is a very small channel. We're not looking to have a bunch of people who just like or subscribe. We want people who are participating. And I understand that today is not the normal time that I come on. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So when you have a trigger, of a trauma, and you have an awareness like, I'm triggered, or maybe you're having a conversation with your partner or a friend, and you're having an experience of like, I'm bothered, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, something something is discordant here. Okay? That is an invitation for you to go in. Okay? So most people choose to just keep pushing on. Get on with their day. I don't want to think about this. This is not pleasant. This is not easy. However, our cellular memory does not heal when we don't take presence and time to address what is actually occurring within ourselves. Okay, so I'm just looking what somebody is saying. Avoid casual talk. Uh, oh, hey, Rakesh, good to see you. It's been a while. Okay, so I want to finish with this thought before I get to the questions, because it's just a few of us in here. So I had this experience. I went to go look for this information. I found the information. This information comes from a legal document that came during what I would pretty much constitute as one of the worst periods of time in my life. Okay, not a pleasant time at all. There was a lot of good things that happened in those years, and a lot of very painful things. So I'm looking for this legal information, and I'm noticing I'm not finding it easy, and I'm noticing the resistance in my body, and I don't want to do what I'm doing, but I know it's like needs to happen. So this is an indication of a resistance, is that your cellular memory is being kicked in. Okay, so it's not that I need to listen to my avoidance or my want to avoid. I need to listen to what is actually being triggered within me. The trauma from the experience, not the document, not what I'm doing now, not what's happening today, the trauma from a past. Okay, so I looked at the information. I had a brief exchange, and I noticed in the exchange that I was having that there was tension. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. What is that? That's discordant energy. Okay. So the discordant energy comes from a cellular memory that was triggered. Now, does that mean that the trauma is not healed? No. What that means is that there's still cellular memories of a trauma, and that's it. It doesn't mean anything more other than it needs more love and attention through that timeline. Okay? So, what did I do? I came into my office, I sat with myself for a moment, and I thought, okay, there's some discordant energy here that needs attention. I opened my heart and I went into the timeline. I didn't push through. I just went into the timeline, into the memory, and I was like, okay, this just needs more love. That's it. Doesn't need anything else. I don't need to dive into all the memories. I don't need to go back to what that time frame was. I just need to understand that cellularly in my physical body, I was having a reaction. That does not mean I'm wounded. That does not mean I have an unhealed wound. That means I have cellular memory that needs more love. That's it. So how often are most of people looking to just push through and say, oh, that's a trauma, it's unhealed? Well, I would say the vast majority of people have not sat in a space of an open heart to heal their own wounds. That is required to heal trauma. You'd never heal your trauma by telling your stories. You never heal trauma by being in attachment to them. You heal trauma through an open heart and through a willingness to see all things through the eyes of love, right? Even the timeline. Even though that was a painful time, I am having a memory of that experience through the eyes of love. And that's how we heal. And that's how you heal. That's how we all heal. So I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you can all hear me. I just want to see that. Tell me something about Neymar. What are you saying here? Let me, I don't know what you're talking about. Dreams. Tell me something about what about the law of attraction? The law of attraction, Neymar, is simply the law of correspondence. It does not work in isolation. It works in unification with all the other natural laws of God. So when you're, sorry, I just needed to bring my chair down a little bit. When you are working with the natural laws, all of them work through your connection to your heart, through your alignment to your heart and your alignment to God. That's how all of the natural laws work. They all work in unification with your heart. Why your heart? It works in alignment with your heart because your heart is a portal of your multidimensional aspects. Hopefully that helps. Anyhow, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and share with you about how timelines work. There are many different aspects of timelines, okay? There's so many, you can't focus on one. There are folds of time, there are walls of time, there are rips of time. So getting stuck in time, like there's so many different ways that time can really get confused. So being in your heart is the way to transmute through all timelines, okay? You don't need to know that. All you need to know is that when you have a trauma, even if the trauma is healed, it will have a cellular memory, okay? Our cellular memories go beyond this space and time. Our cellular memories go beyond our thinking and our thoughts, goes beyond our mind's comprehension. So it's really important for us to get more proficient in connecting to our heart, connecting to God, and healing through love. So Neymar is wanting to know a lot about dreams. You know, this topic is not about dreams, but your dreams can manifest through by looking at different timelines. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, Neymar, but oftentimes our dreams are infiltrated by astral energies, and they're not always what we think. I am not a dream expert, although I am a practitioner of looking at my own dreams. I don't typically do that for others just because I would need to tap into their energy field, and that's not really my forte because it can be very convoluted, especially when people are not in the practice of being in connection to God, meaning they're infiltrated in many different ways. So I don't know if that helps you, Neymar. This channel is not about the law of attraction as much as it's about how all the natural laws work together. And hi, Mono. Good to see you. Thank you for asking. I'm good. Happy Monday to you. So that's my 2 cents, my recommendation. If you are feeling triggered by a cellular memory or a timeline, my guidance, my recommendation is to not push through, pause, reset, open your heart, see that experience through love, see the entire experience through love, see all your cells reacting with love. And also the other thing that I did is I went back to the person I had an interaction with, and I explained to them what I was experiencing in that experience, and I was talking to them, so they had some context. Tell me three effects of quotes. I don't know, Neymar. This is not a call and repeat. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer a question, but I don't rattle off quotes so you can be inspired. I rattle off information so you could do your own healing work. If you resonate with doing your own healing work, this is a channel for you. If you do not resonate with doing your own healing work, then this is not for you. Every day I try to share information that helps people understand that they are their own healers. If you're looking for inspiration, look to your own heart to be inspired. Rakesh, do you have any questions on this topic? Thanks, Rakesh. You're awesome. Do you have any questions? It's been a while since I've seen you. Good to see you. I know this is not the normal time I jump on. This was totally inspired by my own experience, of something that happened over, 12 years ago. So like another lifetime, I'm like a different person now. And so even though I'm a different person, my cellular memory still has memories from things that happened so long ago. It's just how life works. It's so beautiful, the body. It's normal time in India. I don't know what normal time is. I'm trying to think, is there any other information that would be supportive or helpful to talk about in relationship to trauma and timelines? There is. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 more things I need to talk about. We are responsible for healing all of our timelines. So it is our relationship with ourselves, with our hearts, that clears and heals timelines. It is not an outside person. It is not an outside therapist or practitioner that will lead you to clear your timelines. You must take full responsibility for clearing timelines. How you recognize timelines is through your awareness. So I felt it in my body, so that was an indication, right? So you'll have a feeling, a sense, an alert. Our bodies have great alert systems. So we want to listen to our body, and that will help you direct. It was easy for me to find the timeline because I was already going back to a time where I needed something, and I knew what the timeline was where that something was. So I didn't have the awareness at the time I was looking for something that it was going to trigger a trauma. So just because we think we've healed doesn't mean that we've healed everything. So we must understand that the mind does not dictate our healing or our awareness. The mind is simply something that needs to be disciplined, and we need to pay attention to our body, our cellular memory, our heart, to lead us to full healing. Okay, so anything, I think those were the 3. I just hit them, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Does trauma store in our body? Yes, that's what I've been talking about, exactly. We have cellular memory, and our cells, just like our DNA, store all of our records. Okay, so our cells, if we have a trauma, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, everything is being recorded, always, in our cells. Our cells are connected directly to our DNA, and our DNA has a record process that goes beyond our physical body and moves multidimensionally. So hopefully that helps you. So the answer to that simply is yes. And only we can heal our cellular memory. Even if you're working with a healer is working through your authorization to heal. So I can heal with my client's authority, but not without it. Okay, what is trauma actually? What do you feel? It's a weird question, but I'd like to hear your answer. Okay, Well, this is a very interesting question, and I did not give a definition of trauma when I started this series, and I don't intend to, because we all have a different perception based on our conscious awareness of what trauma is. Okay, so trauma is, in general terms, it's an unhealed wound. It's an experience that has gone unrecognized or unhealed to some extent. Okay. What else is trauma? It's an experience that is, as you become more conscious, changes its wisdom. So trauma isn't always what you think it is what I would like to say about that. So we have different ideas, I could give you a definition, but then I would be going into the mind. And the mind likes to lock things into a particular way. But there is a lot of people that have ideas about trauma based on being a little kid. But as an adult, when you look at that same memory, you wouldn't think of it as a trauma. So it really is dependent on the person and their conscious, their access to consciousness, and how aware are they, and how evolved are they. So trauma can mean many things to many people, but timelines are the same regardless. Does that help? So timelines are they just exist. They're not based on your conscious awareness. They are there whether you're conscious or not. Does that make sense? Trauma is going to be based on your consciousness, how you're perceiving it, and also how healed you are. So the more healed you are, the less you'll be triggered by unhealed wounds, if you will. The simple way. So we have all different kinds of ways of looking at trauma. This is not therapy. This is energy healing, energy psychology, which, that we're looking at physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. We're looking at alignment to the natural laws of God. And that's how we do the healing. A very good question. I hope that helps you. Do I mean mind drama? Good one, Neymar, right? Right, the mind is very dramatic. I love that you said that, Neymar, because the mind can and more than often has been infiltrated, and most people are not disciplined with their mind, and their mind is directing their life, not their heart. When you have true healing, when you have higher levels of consciousness, your heart is leading the show, not the ego. Okay? Somebody who is more spiritually evolved will have done a lot of ego work, meaning a dismantling of the ego mind. All right. I don't know how to say your name, Vin Ikas. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with names, so please forgive me. How to deal with PTSD. Well, PTSD is a diagnosis, first of all, and I am not a fan of diagnosis. And the reason I am not a fan of diagnosis is most people make a diagnosis, such as PTSD, part of their identity. When we have had an experience and we make that experience part of our identity, we have lost track of who we are in truth, okay? So we want to disidentify with anything that we've identified as part of who we are that is not in alignment with truth. The truth is a frequency that you tap into. It's not a fact, it's not a judgment, it's a frequency, okay? So, how to deal with PTSD. How I approach PTSD with my clients initially So let's just say you were to book a session. The first thing I would do is make sure that you understand that your nervous system is your nervous system, and you must be the commander of your nervous system and of your body. Okay? When we do not command our nervous system or our body, hey Shane, good to see you, and Salvo, hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Okay, so when we are experiencing a post-traumatic stress disorder, we must first address our nervous system, okay? Our nervous system, unaddressed and uncommanded, will direct how your brain is processing, how your chemicals are firing. So the first thing I do in my first session with anybody who has an immense amount of stress or just stress, and they come to me for a session and I can tell their nervous system is kicked on, that is the first thing I do, is teach all my clients how to dictate and run their nervous system. That is number one. And I do that for everybody because that is so critical to stress and to trauma. So that's number one. Most people have their nervous system hooked in, meaning it's locked. It's locked on. So the first thing I would say to you who's asked about PTSD is make sure your nervous system is turned off. And it works like a switch, and you just turn it off. Okay, so once you have that mastered, that's number one. You got to master your nervous system. That's huge. That's going to give you relief immediately. It's going to give you freedom automatically, which is what I deliver and try to give my clients. You can't have peace in your life without freedom. So learn how to get your nervous system turned off. Step 2 for post-traumatic stress disorder is make sure you have some strategies of turning off your fight or flight system. So let's just say you have a trauma that's unhealed. Let's just say I'm talking to the average person who has unhealed trauma, and they know they have unhealed trauma and they don't know how to heal it. And let's just say that's who I'm talking to right now. You learn how to turn off your nervous system. That's number one. Number 2 is you need strategies of getting your body back under your command. Because when you have PTSD, you feel like you've been disconnected from your body and you're being operated by some unknown event, or this event that took place that should have been in the past, but because it's not in the past and you're living it in the present moment, you're triggering these past timeline. That's what's happening. So you want to have strategies to getting present. I'm here. I'm in this seat right now. I could feel my feet on the floor. And you start doing present moment body work. So that's number 2. And you write this strategy down and you put it in a note on your phone so you know exactly where to go when you know your PTSD is being operated, you're being triggered. You go straight to your notes and you start operating off of that strategy. Now, I've done these videos all last year. I have so many strategies that I've given, so I'm not going to go down a whole list of what to do, but there's so many videos where I talk about things that you can do to create your own survival. Not even survival, I would say your thriving guide. You should have notes to thrive in life. These are the things I need to operate on every single day. Okay? And also I would say take my intention setting to synchronicity class. It's free on this YouTube channel, okay? All right, let's see. What else? Can changing perception help erase trauma? There's no erasing trauma. You can nullify it, which sounds like an erasing, but trauma is stored in the cells. So what you want to do is heal the trauma through love. That is the ultimate perception hack, is to see and sense and live your life in alignment with the frequency of love and truth. which is the truth in alignment to the natural laws, okay? Nothing I say on here is going to take you away from the natural laws. Or at least that's my intention, to not derail you, because I want you to have solid skills to do this. Let's see. I think a lot of people think they can erase things through their memory. But here is the thing, is memory wiping. You could go look at my other video. I think it was video number 2 that I talked about trauma, where I talk about memory wiping. Memory wiping does not erase cellular memory, okay? So that's really important to be aware of. So our cells have memory, which is why so many people struggle. Oh, here's a good story, you guys. Okay, I had a client, it's going back many years ago, who was presenting as if they had trauma, but they didn't have trauma. After we went in deeper, it turns out in utero, and I've shared this story before because it's so powerful, this particular client's mother was assaulted and sexually and physically assaulted while this client of mine was in utero. So the client was operating by cellular memory as if she was assaulted as well. So that is how powerful cellular memory is. So we must heal at the point of causation. So that's why in energy psychology, we always go to the causal trauma event, because it could be in utero before birth. It could be past lifetime, which is, I don't want to get into that, but it could be. So we need to look at those things, because those things directly influence our current state. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe in that stuff. You don't have to believe it to be true. That's the thing about the truth frequency, is it's a frequency regardless of whether you believe it or not. So your belief system can limit your ability to heal trauma as well. And there, I said it. Okay, what else? What else? Questions? Okay. Neymar is saying, how do we control the subconscious mind? Well, Neymar, how do we control the subconscious mind? You must, well, let me see how to answer this in simple terms. Most people are not aware of what's going on in their mind, period. Okay? So if I ask somebody how they're feeling, most people have a very challenging time even accessing what a feeling is. So Neymar, what I would say is most people aren't even conscious of their actual thoughts. Okay, let's just say that you're not the average person, and you know you are conscious and you have awareness of your subconscious. How do you control it? You don't control it. You use awareness to understand when it's activated. And just by the way, you have a subconscious. So it's not about controlling, it's about awareness. So you want to become more consciously aware, and that is how you direct your energy. When you are not aware and you are trying to control because you're in the ego mind, when that's an ego mind action, they want to control everything, the ego mind. You cannot control your subconscious mind without having conscious awareness. So you want to have more control, you want to do your ego work. You want to have your ego mind neutralized to the best of your ability. And then you'll be able to see, sense, feel, and hear things differently. Great questions. Yay. I love it. Sheldon, good to see you. Salvo, hello, hello, hello. Salvo is saying, I've realized traumatized people can become selfish and restrict themselves from moving forward so they don't get hurt in the same way again. They just don't realize they are hurting themselves. Oftentimes people put these protective mechanisms in play because that's the ego mind using a false view of reality that's disconnected from their spiritual aspects, okay? So you're not incorrect with that, Salvo, at all. But most people who are traumatized are not working off of awareness, right? They are very unaware. And even, I will say, even myself, in my, I think I'm very aware, but I'm not aware of everything. I ask questions every day, all day long. But there are aspects that we cannot see, which is why it's so valuable to work with somebody like me, because I could see, sense, feel, and hear things that the average person just is not tuned into. Why? Because they don't know. Number two, they haven't developed their multidimensional aspects. That's number two. Number three is their awareness is stunted because they're so connected with their ego mind. Why are they connected to their ego mind? Because this is how this material world operates, off of the ego. Is that the best scenario for humanity? Clearly not, but it is what's happening. Just finishing my coffee still. Okay, thanks for that, Salvo. Good to see you. Rakesh is saying I'm doing the same. Oh, hey, Lukesh. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, Salvo, you jumped on late, but I talked about specifically how to shake it. Is not to shake it, to look at it and to see it through the heart, and you see the timeline through love. So when we're trying to shake cellular memory, it doesn't work. You can't push through it. You must be present to it. So look at it in terms of presence versus pushing. Presence brings healing, pushing creates denial and actually stuffs it down. Now, when we store our emotions and our traumas in our body, that leaves us vulnerable to other nefarious energies. We don't want to be vulnerable. We want to be strong. We want to be congruent. When we have unhealed wounds, we become incongruent. I need some personalized document or something about shedding off the central nervous system and dealing with trauma. I don't feel comfortable doing that on a YouTube here. I've thought about it, and I want to, it's different for everybody. Not everybody is operating in a prescriptive way. So Lokesh, if you booked even a 30-minute session, I could teach you and give you some homework and you would be fine. I live in California, USA, yes. Danny's saying, I have a traumatic experience. Well, most of humanity has trauma, Danny, so I'm not trying to minimize it by any means. It's just that we need to see our experiences in as opportunities to heal rather than things that have happened to us, okay? Because one is empowering and the other one is being disempowered. So Danny, the fact that you know that you have trauma that needs healing, I would say you're a step ahead of the vast majority of people. The second thing that you're saying here is that you're willing to get help, and I'm willing to help you. So, and if you don't come to me, you could go to somebody else. You can go on my website and see my testimonials. I'm very good at working with these things, especially trauma that's been, obviously you can't get to real deep healing if you have trauma that's unhealed. And I'll just share a short story real quick. Usually I do, for people who are not sure if they resonate with me, I do a consult, and that consult, I will just pick up just very general information on somebody. I'm not tapping into their field at all, so it's not at all like a session, but I'll just share what I'm picking up just on the periphery. So this one client, I picked up the word vengeance. And I don't, that's not a word that I get very often, but this was a word that I got for this particular client. And that was the story of their life up until we met. One vengeful, traumatic, dramatic, chaotic story after another. So, it's different for everybody how we heal. So I will teach whoever wants to know in a one-on-one session how to turn off their nervous system and give you some steps on how to manage it. Once you master your nervous system, you can really turn around your life in a really dramatic way. If you're on medication, it still needs to be done, okay? Medication actually can make you more vulnerable to other energies because you're not conscious, right? So a lot of medications is turning off how your body is running, and then you don't have a conscious awareness of it. You want to be conscious. You want to be aware. So Danny, I'm here to help you if you feel that what I'm saying resonates. You really don't understand things. Okay. You don't have to stay on the channel if you don't like what I'm saying. You can keep on moving. Capacity of society encouraged, yes. Capitalist society encouraged the ego mind. Yes, Rakesh. The material world, the 3D world, absolutely dictates staying engaged with the ego mind. That is shopping, that is medical, that is business. It's an enslavement mentality. Correct. We agree. You're welcome. I hope that was helpful for you. Bin Akas. Sorry, I didn't say your name properly. What to do with toxic shame? Okay. Hey, Zestful XYZ. I love the new name. Love it. Oh, that's awesome. You're not the first one that's changed their name on this channel that I've seen in the chat. I love your new name. Beautiful. Okay. Bisrat. What to do with toxic shame? Well, first of all, shame is on the scale of emotional expression. Shame would be on the low end. So when you have toxic, well, let's just stay with shame. When you are expressing shame, you are expressing at the lower realms of the emotional scale, okay? Joy, enlightenment, those types of things would be at the higher end. When you are talking and adding in toxic shame, which is telling me you have a looping or repeating pattern both in the mind and probably in the emotional body and probably manifesting in your experiences. So what's happening is you're resonating in the lower realms of the life experiences because you have this looping, okay? This is one reason why I created the Peace Program, which, by the way, I'm taking away this month, stopping that program. But the Peace Program I created because there's so much unhealed, number one, trauma, and number two, emotional awareness. So in the words of a client that sent me last week, said, I thought forever I would have this paranoid experience. And this client said he made it part of his identity. And after a session, he no longer has it. And this is, your emotions do not need to stay locked in when you are raising in consciousness. When you raise in consciousness, the game changes. Your emotional mapping changes, your mental mapping changes, your spiritual awareness expands, and life becomes different. So when you have toxic shame, what I would say is you need to raise in consciousness. So do things that make you feel good. I know that sounds like cliche, but joy will knock out shame easily. Love of God, love and of your heart, finding gratitude, those are energies that will overshadow a lower frequency 100 times over. Now, when you're having toxic shame, that's the part that makes it different than an emotional expression. When you have the looping, repeating aspects, and also what often comes with that is energy reversals, which I've talked about ad nauseum in the past. I won't go into that here, but that is a thing that occurs. So I wasn't expecting so many people. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying this. Thanks for being here. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up. That helps the algorithms. Okay, Danny, love to see you. It's not going to be as hard as you think, Danny. That's one thing that I will tell you. All of us have stuff to work through. If you're human, Danny, you have stuff to work through. But what I want to tell you is that it's not going to be, when you work with energy psychology, and I work with a lot of therapists and nurses and medical practitioners, when you're working with my world of energy psychology, where you're working physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, working to bring you into alignment, and you feel that stillness happen within you, you can change quickly. It doesn't have to take forever. Yes, there are many layers. Yes, there are many timelines. Yes, there are a ton of ways in which it could take a long time. But hey, we're human. We're here to do this work. If you're alive, you are here to heal. That's why we're here. That's the primary reason that we incarnate on this planet, is to heal ourselves. You are your own healer. We have been conditioned away from knowing this. We have been lied to and cheated out of our spiritual journeys, but not if you are willing to rise in consciousness. So Zestful, let me just say, so happy to see you, and I love your name. Okay, your quantum reality, hello, is saying, isn't shame self-inflicted? Just don't do things that give you shame. Yeah, that would be a simple answer. Is shame self-inflicted? I would say sometimes it's pulsed into the ethers by low frequencies. So, but you have to resonate with it. So quantum reality is saying that they're doing self-harm, but a lot of times people are doing and behaving in ways because they're not conscious of their own consciousness. So it's a yes and. I'm going to say yes and. I think that society has been pulsed in with various programs and waves that go against love, let's just say. Let's just say that. There is a feeling in my body which I don't understand, but I don't like it. How can I identify it? Well, that's a really interesting thing you're saying there. So let me repeat this and I'll walk you through. There is a feeling in my body I don't understand. Perfect. Then you go into, but I don't like it. How can I identify it? The resistance is going to put you in a space of denial, and it's going to inhibit your ability to identify. So, Bisrat, what I suggest is don't try and identify what the feeling is, because naming it is not as important as transmuting it. And how you transmute your feelings is by finding it in your body. Let's just say you take a breath. I'm talking a lot, so I'm short. So take a breath and connect with your heart, and then do a body scan. Okay? You want to scan your body, and once you find that feeling, stick with that feeling and bring in your conscious breath to that space where you're feeling it. So whether you're feeling it in your little toe or in your heart or in your head, just go to that space and use the conscious breath and breathe into that feeling, okay? Now, notice if that feeling moves, shifts, relocates. Just do another body scan through your body and find it and stay with it until it's completely gone. Then you don't have to get into the mind of I like it, I don't like it. You're just transmuting it and healing yourself. Hopefully that helps you. Neymar is saying, how to handle an emotionally provoking person. How do I handle an emotional provoking person? Oftentimes those people who trigger you emotionally are siphoning your energy. So Neymar, you want to strengthen your field. You want to become more strong within you, so you see that they're trying to provoke you. They're triggering you emotionally. That means you have a vulnerability. They can only trigger you if you have a vulnerability to it, and then you don't see it. Like sometimes you could be in a very high, intense situation. You stay calm, you stay calm, you stay calm, and then you hit your limit. So you need to know what your limit is and eject or remove yourself before you hit that, before you lose it. Because when you lose it emotionally, that's when you also become vulnerable to entities or nefarious energies. Okay? Hopefully that helps you. Rakesh is saying, your explanation helped me to refocus. Oh, good. On my spiritual path. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for sharing that with me. But this society and capitalist economy is a huge challenge in between. It's part of our spiritual growth, though. You know, we're in this society because we are to move beyond it. We can move beyond it. Like I'm all 5D. Do I play in the world of 3D? Yes, but my life primarily is in higher realms of consciousness. So Rakesh, don't try not to go into the mind about what you think in judgment about society. Just try to be present in your heart, okay? Because our judgments hook us into ideas and belief systems, and that's telling us we have some work to do. Our belief systems need to be realigned to our heart and our spiritual aspects. Your quality realm is saying you have no control over other people. You only can control yourself. Well, there are some people that don't even have control over themselves. So I think the idea of control is an illusion by itself. That's my personal opinion. You obviously think different, but we certainly are influences on one another. So if you're seeing somebody who is bringing something to you that you need to learn your lessons, and then you won't attract that anymore. That is the law of correspondence, right? We attract what we resonate with, which is why you want to heal your timelines and your traumas. Hi, Amber. Good to see you. I've read that PTSD is of the mind and not being able to process its trauma. Could be true. I would say what I've been taught and learned and experienced is that all illness, all dis-ease is going to occur in the mind. Everything occurs in the non-physical before it becomes physical. So the emotions from the experience get stuck in the body. That would be cellular memory. If something's getting stuck or lodged, it can get stuck in the tissues, in the bones, in the organs. It can get stuck anywhere. We want to allow energy to move and be processed. true. We want all of our energy, but we do have energetic blocks. We have beliefs that block us. That's the biggest block, is going to be our beliefs about what we think about healing. Dictates our healing. I had a former client reach out just a couple weeks ago to tell me they were diagnosed with cancer, and they were doing the medical route, and they were struggling with their mind. Well, the mind is where everything occurs. So yeah, most people don't spend enough time disciplining their mind, I would say. I'm not sure, Amber, if I spoke enough to what you're asking. We want to be in alignment with ourselves, with our heart, with our with God, and that's how we heal. Everything can be healed when we're in alignment to the natural laws. Most people don't even know that the natural laws exist, that there are actually laws that govern energy. Why don't people know this? Because we've been conditioned out of our truth, out of our multidimensional aspects. Bizrat is saying, I can't focus on it and I get lost in my thoughts, which is the resistance, I believe. Yeah, so just train yourself every day to connect with your heart. It should be pretty easy. Like if I were working with you, the first thing I would do is say I would still your mind. And then you can scan your body earlier. Easier, I mean. Rakesh is saying, your perception creates reality. Absolutely. How to control overthinking, especially when going to sleep. You need to have practices. First thing, if you're having trouble sleeping, first of all, you must understand that there are energies that are being pulsed during the sleep time. That's number one. Number two, you have to understand that you are the director of your body. If you have not commanded your body to be under your full control during your sleep time, that would be number one. Number two, if you're not connecting with your higher self and God's self before sleep, I would do that immediately. Start to develop that relationship. I have a video on your higher self. You can go check that out if you don't know what that is. But you need to be connecting with your multidimensional aspects every day. I don't know how long. Ooh, it's almost an hour. I'm going to get going here. I got to get ready. Okay. You can't control thinking. You need to discipline your mind, okay? You got to discipline your mind. If you haven't disciplined your mind, you probably haven't disciplined your nervous system. So your nervous system will be driving how your brain is operating, and then it's going to go off from there. Amber is saying, thank you. Yes, I agree. All stems from the mind. The body sensations will influence the mind if we aren't aware our thoughts and beliefs towards the sensations. Well, I think people try to make sense out of their feelings, and they try to say, well, I'm feeling this because. A lot of very ego-minded, controlling people like to dictate what their emotions are. And that's not how it works. We can try to make sense of it in our mind, but really our minds are very small in comparison to how our hearts operate. So I would say if you're trying to get in alignment, the first thing you want to first start with, a good place to start is where you're most incongruent. That's where I start with my clients. Like when they book a session, somebody books a session, I pick up on information, but they dictate where they want to work on. I don't work on everything I want to work on because it's not my session. It's my session to be in service to God and to alignment and to truth, and to do my best to align my clients to the same in their highest and best good. And that's how I address it. But what we think in our mind is not oftentimes what's going on. Oftentimes there's nefarious energies at play, Amber, that most people are denying. And when you're in denial, you cannot see the truth. You cannot operate in the truth. And a lot of people could put something right in front of them. The truth could be right in front of you. And they will deny it because they were told a lie that they believed. And the ego is hooked into the lies. So that's why you want to do ego work. Okay, Rakesh, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to jump off here. Amber, thank you so much for being here. Your quantum reality says, I personally always sleep better when I've had physical exercise that day. What I will tell you about sleep is most people have energetic parasites and they have physical parasites. And they do not know that. And those parasites disrupt the entire microbiome. They disrupt how our energy systems operate. And it's a cluster. And it's not easy to get rid of them because parasites leave eggs and eggs need to be disposed of and cleansed. So if you are somebody who has chronic sleep issues, I would suggest doing a stool test to get rid of, and then you're going to need a cleansing protocol. What that cleansing protocol is going to be different than for you than it may be me. Like for me, I am very sensitive. And when I was looking at protocols, the protocols that were out there were too harsh for me. So that's how I found Ayurvedic healthcare. Ayurvedic healthcare is not the easiest, but it's the most impactful that I've found, and very, very direct. So yes, physical activity is very good. Yeah, and I got off of it for a while, but I was doing stretches every morning and every night, and I got out of the rhythm. Life happens, and now I'm back onto it. Neymar is having suicidal thoughts. I'm so sorry. If you're having suicidal thoughts, you should get assistance immediately. And I would say, Neymar, you probably have parasites. I can't say for sure because I don't know you. So know that every moment is a moment to connect with God. So connect with your heart, connect with God, develop a deep, intimate relationship with your heart and with God, Neymar. That's what I would say is going to make you stronger. Okay? I don't know what to say other than we all have our moments of weakness. Don't let your moments of weakness dictate. Suicide is not the answer. It's not the way out. And you deserve to live, and you are stronger than you think. In fact, the note that I got today, I'm going to share with you, Neymar. This is for you. You're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you seem. You're smarter than you think. And you're loved more than you know. Write that down. I got that this morning in a note, and that is the truth. Okay? Sending lots of love, Neymar. You're not alone. Okay, Mono, good to see you. Does seeing yourself on the screen while live streaming affect mental health? I don't know. I guess if you're weak, it could, for sure. Because I know that it does a little, right? It's like being in front of the mirror for an hour, right? Thanks. I would say for comedy purposes, that's a really good, interesting question. And I would say, and I have said to people who want to do live streams, if you have weaknesses or you're insecure, you should not be doing anything in social media. Social media is a cesspool of very low energies, and you need to be able to have a perspective, and you need to be grounded in your purpose. My purpose is not to look at myself in the mirror. My purpose here is to provide information in alignment with the natural laws for people to find different ways to connect with their heart and God. And that is my purpose. It is not to second guess myself. I stay tuned into my heart. Thank you so much. Amber is sending you much love, Neymar. Open that heart and let it out. Oh, beautiful, Amber. Thank you all so much for being here on this early Monday morning. Not my normal time for doing these lives, but This was an impromptu live. If you joined late, I highly recommend going to the beginning where I talked about my personal story about releasing timelines of trauma, because trauma timelines need to be released, and those are always going to be released through your cellular memory, okay? Thank you so much, Amber. Amber's, thank you, Amber, saying I actually quit social media because of insecurities. I knew I had to get back to my heart. Amber, I would love to work with you because you are an amazing being, and you obviously have a lot to offer. And we don't want our insecurities to dictate our life, but I think you made the right decision. Until we get stronger, we should not be doing things that make us vulnerable. So if you feel like you resonate with what I'm saying, I'd love to work with somebody like you or anybody that's looking to get stronger and listen to their heart. I love it. Remembering God is peace of the heart. Yes. All right. Peace. Namaste. See you all soon. Bye. Oh, good. So glad, Neymar. Thank you for letting me know. We'll see you in another time. Thank you so much, Rakesh. You guys have a great day.